The reptile business is very different from other business ventures. Our inventory consists of live animals that we rely on to make enough money for them to support themselves, or if we're lucky to see some sort of profit. Looking at these animals that we love and raise as products is difficult, but being able to consistently find homes and willing buyers when producing large quantities of these animals is one of the most crucial things to consider. Recently, it has been increasingly more difficult to find new homes for our productions as breeders, and even more so to sell them for an appropriate price, or so we've been told. But the reality is that most of us who have experienced the decline are looking at the reptile market through the wrong lens. Let's take a look at some products outside of the hobby that sell really well. Take a look at this wrapping paper cutter, or even this spinning vegetable draining thing, for example. Nobody truly sat around craving these products. Instead, someone invented them, and rather than selling the product, they sold the idea. This applies to reptiles too. This leads to the first thing you can do to escape the market crash. First, as previously mentioned, sell the idea and not the product. The idea that people want what they want is an outdated one, and in any business this isn't true. You need to make people want things, and you have to ask questions such as what are our projects focused on? What is the goal with the project and why is that your goal? What makes this outcome desirable and how can others use this project's production? And most importantly, why would someone want your product? Let's take a look at a crested gecko I recently sold, for example. This is a lavender extreme harlequin defined by the light gray base color and abundance of cream pattern over that color. How did I sell this animal? Well, I didn't. I sold the idea. There are so many people working with crested geckos, and there are bound to be people working with lavenders and extreme harlequins. For that reason, I didn't just sell the gecko, but I sold the idea. I sold the things that this animal brings to the table, such as the high potential for future offspring this animal can produce, and the ability to expand one's own lavender extreme harlequin project. By selling this idea, I answered the questions I outlined above. But there are plenty of other things you can do to beat around the bush that is this market crash. The second thing you can do is take advantage of social media. Marketing is one of the most attainable tactics today, and some people may argue that luck plays a factor in marketing and advertising when attempting to build a platform, and though this is an easier thing to accept, this isn't always true. If we take a look at some of the biggest reptile accounts, a few things remain constant. Most people with a larger social media presence have diversified their content. Whether this be diversifying platforms, diversifying types of content, or both, the biggest names out there take advantage of every opportunity they can. Photos, short-term content, various short clips, long-term content, and educational content are all things you can see amongst the most successful creators. Additionally, consistency is consistent, and implementing some of these things can result in change for you and your business. The third thing you can do to see an improvement is to pursue the right things. During what we claim to be a market crash, it is incredibly easy to find ourselves making a very common mistake. We chase what we may feel might be the most lucrative. There are two main issues with this. First, when we constantly try to find new things, we lose out on the potential to build experience and knowledge in the areas we are already striving to improve. Second, chasing what is lucrative does not equate to chasing what we are most passionate about, and passion is one of the most important things in a hobby like this. Failure to believe in your product is the easiest way to fail to persuade others that your product is worth their investment. The fourth and most important thing you can do is to modernize your prices and learn to be content with change. What once sold for thousands of dollars may only sell for a couple hundred with time, and likewise what used to sell for almost nothing may sell for a lot more once people discover the potential of that particular thing. People equate lower prices with a market crash all too often, and although there is some truth to this, there are other factors to consider like demand. The main reason that the price has tanked in the reptile market is due to the large influx of breeders and therefore a far higher supply of reptiles. But as the saying goes, tomato tomato, the average price of reptiles only decrease because more people are working with them, which in turn means that there is an exorbitant amount of demand for them even still. With more people working with them, it isn't that there is no demand for your product, but rather that your product pricing may be a bit behind the times. Adjusting and learning to be okay with market changes is an important skill to develop. Reptiles are incredible animals, and many of them are unbelievably fascinating, captivating, charismatic, or just downright derpy. They make exceptional pets, and working with them is nothing short of a privilege, but we need to consider the market aspect of them too. If you have found yourself stuck in what we've claimed to be a market crash, try implementing these tips and you're bound to see some positive change. My complete care guide for crested geckos is now available as a Kindle or paperback on Amazon. It is titled The Evolution of Crested Gecko Care and will be linked down below. Crested geckos are some of the easiest pet reptiles and are often the first choice for new reptile keepers for a good reason. However, despite being easy, it is important to provide everything they need to thrive. For this reason, I've written an intensive care guide that has everything you need to know and will provide you with the necessary toolkit to provide the best life for your new Crested Gecko. If you or someone you know has just gotten a Crested Gecko or perhaps plans on getting one, take some time to recommend this book to them, and thank you very much for considering it. Like and subscribe for future content related to care, breeding and general information, and general fun centered around reptiles.